Hey everybody, it's Aquila, and this is the Lefty Knitted Podcast, episode 246. I'll correct it if I'm wrong. I'm coming to you from Baltimore, Maryland on a wonderful Sunday. It is September 15th. I am only doing one clip today because I just don't have anything else, so I apologize. Yeah, I hope you can't hear the music. You might just hear bumping, maybe. We're going to a concert tonight, and we're all, like, excited and whatever. So, the whole family's going. All four of us. So, we're really excited for that. I know it's a school night. Don't come at me. So, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. We are a knitting primarily podcast here, and crafting and whatever else I'm getting into. So, welcome anybody that's new, and welcome back to any of my returning viewers. I appreciate everybody very much for checking me out. I know I have a lot of people who watch my cranking videos also. I keep them separate because, well, not everybody wants to see all my knitting stuff that's a cranker, and not everybody that's a cranker wants to see all my knitting stuff. So I just keep it separate for the ease. And most of the time I'm doing some sort of tutorial on the machine or showing you something on the machine. So not every, that's really a whole separate subject. So I do have to show you, I cranked the other sock because I do show my finished objects when I make them on the machine. I have an Erlbacher Gearhart Speedster. It's next to me. I love her very much. So I had finished this sock, if you guys remember. And I didn't finish this sock because I haven't closed the toe, but I do have a second sock. So they're very pretty. And I did end up doing the opposite colors. This was yarn. If you're new here, let me grab, this was a mini skein kit actually. I used my 48 stitch cylinder, and it was a mini skein set, and I put them all in here, but it was from Good Karma Farms, and it was a sport weight. So the 48 stitch worked really well. I held it with Lycra because this yarn is alpaca and wool, so there's no nylon in it. So I held it with Lycra. You can barely tell the Lycra's even in there. You can see little bits of it. You probably see cat hair too, but you see little bits of the Lycra. So I promise these will be fine. I wanted to use the yarn. I just thought it would be a fun project, and that's what I ended up doing. So I just have to close the toe on those, and those will be complete. The other thing that I had no other really finished objects or whips or anything. I really don't have much on my needles. I have a Stephen West shawl that I had started that's kind of just sitting because I need to reread the pattern and find out where I'm at, and yeah. And that's okay. It's totally okay. I have this yarn that I purchased in the Outer Banks from the Blue Pelican. And I got it when they do their sales of Fill-A-Bag. Now, these are originally marked $15, and I think I got 15 skeins in different colors. It's called Tenderfoot, and it's by, I know I've said this before, made in Turkey by Euro Yarns. And it is 410 yards. It's considered a super fine, but I think it knits up more like a sport weight. It's a 75-25, and so yeah. If you're a returning viewer, I made my Miserina out of this. I'll insert a picture here out of 2 different colors that I had purchased, and I love that sweater so very much. So I was at Robin from Byrds had invited me out to surprise Chevis, and because Chevis was going to be doing tarot card readings and stuff at her shop. Robin has a yarn truck that she drives around to the festivals, but she also has like a brick and mortar that's only like, it's not open all the time, and it's not really a brick and mortar, it's an extension on her property. So it's not quite a brick and mortar with open store hours. So just so you know. And while I was there, her knitting group had come on one of the nights that we were there, and they were talking about doing a knit along for the Polina sweater. And I looked at it and I was like, I think I have perfect yarn for this. The Polina sweater here, I'll put the name of the designer down below because I don't know it off the top of my head. I started it. I didn't know what to cast on. I was kind of just floating around, not sure what to do. I was going to maybe make some more wind spinners. Oh, and I did finish all of my granny squares, which you will end up seeing again because I'm going to make a fanny pack out of them from the Granny Stripes Red Heart yarn. So back to the knit along. I think it was a very casual knit along. Their group was talking about doing it, and they showed me the picture, and I was like, oh, that's a pretty sweater. And so I had it in my head, this yarn was already designated for that sweater. Not that it couldn't have turned into something else, but I just thought it was going to look really nice. I cast that on. So I will put a stitch marker in to show you guys where I was when I showed you this, so I can remember. I am loving this color work. Now let me say, straight from the start, the pattern, I showed a picture, or I'll have a picture here again, has 3 different types of necklines. So it has a ruffled neckline, a folded over neckline, or a crew neck, more short. I decided to go with the crew neck. I just don't want a ruffled neckline, and I have sweaters with a doubled over, and I didn't want to do that. So I went with the crew neck, I think is what they call it in the pattern. It has short rows in it, and I'm pretty sure that's given in the pattern when it gives you the attributes. So there are some short rows, but when I first saw this in written, I was like, what are they doing? What is happening? And I had to go back and reference the pictures a few times, because I was like, they're going from this like a 1x1 to a different type of rib, and then it had these in it, but it flows real nice now that I have it done and I've looked at it and I've looked at the pictures and I've confirmed that I was doing it right. Like, trust the pattern. Trust the pattern. So it's not on giant, I'm on a circular needle, not obviously, I don't have to be. Okay, I'm on a circular needle, but I don't want my stitches to be too spread out, so it's going to be a little hard to show you the full color work there. There we go. If I spread one out, you can kind of see it. Okay, it's this like flower motif. I mean, I showed the reference photo, so you guys have an idea of what this is looking like, and it looks so good. And I'll show you my floats. I am not doing the jacquard ladder back technique. I am catching my floats. Now, what I do is I don't have the rest of the pattern printed, but I have the chart printed, because what I end up doing is marking on my chart where I want my floats to be, because I don't want my floats to be on top of one another. Because when you get that, you get this, I forget what they call it. There's a name, if I can remember. If you put your floats on top of one another, so I have a float that is right here, okay, running this way. If I flip it over, you can see I've caught this gray yarn, okay, and see how it's a stepladder effect, because on my chart I mark where my float's going to be, and on the next row I move the float over, or I space it out differently so my floats are not on top of one another. When you do them on top of one another the whole way, if you're doing a traditional catching your float, you can see the catching of the float on that line, on that row, if you on that column, I should say, you can see it. So that's the one thing I do print when I'm doing a color work chart, is the chart, and all I do is between the 2 stitches I just put like a little dot on the line. I don't want to show you my pattern, but I could take maybe a picture and insert it to show you what I'm doing, because like I said, I just don't want my floats to be on top of one another. I've seen it happen. I have seen where the float pops itself through, not pops through, but you can see it. So I'm very mindful. God, that stupid meme. Very mindful, very demure. It pops in my head about, it popped in my head when I said that. I'm just being very cautious that my floats aren't on top of one another. So you can see that I move where I catch my float over. You can see it. And so every stitch marker marks one set of repeats. So I know my float should be in the same spot for every set of repeats too. So they're all gonna look uniform and the same. I'm just loving this so much. I'm loving it so much. I'll show you one more time. So yeah, I'm really digging it. I am a little more than halfway over done the chart for the yoke portion. There is some on the sleeves, and I'm not quite I can't remember. We'd have to look at the reference photo again. Okay. I can't put that down, but I also can't do it. We were in a group setting yesterday, and I couldn't do it. I need to be like really focusing. Yesterday was the Fiber Art Studio Tour. Now, I've talked about this previously, but I'll talk about it again in case anybody needs to have a reminder of what it is. There are a few dyers that have studios, some in their homes, some not in their homes, etc. And they have open studio tour, and it's the Fiber Art Studio Tour. So it's once a month on a Saturday, and you can go and purchase items from the dyers, and you know, it's like they have a little store set up. It's really awesome because most of these dyers are doing festivals, and they have probably online sales, right? So when they're not doing that and they're not online, they're having these open studio tours. It's really awesome. There's probably about 4 or 5 different ones. You can follow them on Instagram. And yeah, it's awesome. So I went and I just hung out at one of the places, and that was Avalon Springs, and that's Karen is the dyer and owner, and it's always nice to go see them. So if you do get a chance and you live in the area, I highly encourage it because most of them also have animals, so you can see their goats or their sheep, and it's really cool. So I purchased 3. This is Avalon's logo. I purchased 3 soaps. One was gifted. Hazel's already using hers, and this is actually John's. He already has a soap, but it's in the tub. So this is their goat's milk soap, and I think all of them are goat's milk. This one doesn't say goat's milk on it. Ooh, maybe I didn't buy him a goat milk one. Oh well. He's gotten other ones that are goat milk. But this one is called River Goddess Bion, and it's honey and musk. And it smells so good. Dang it, I thought I got him. Oops, oh well. He'll be fine. He'll be fine. He won't even read it. He won't even know. But they do have goat's milk ones. So I think maybe mine is, or Hazel's is. I don't remember. Or the one I gifted. Gosh, my brain is all over the place. Also, while I was there, they had a new kit that they put out. Karen does all the not all of them. There's I think a friend of hers. Oh, this one is by Kathleen. So I apologize. This is by Kathleen, but the kits are put out like in collaboration with Avalon. But Karen also does some. But this is the turkey and pumpkin. It's a new kit, and I'll seal that back up. It's called Harvest Feast Turkey and Pumpkin, and it comes with like all the stuff you need. So it comes with the safety eyes and all your yarn and the instructions. So this is exciting. Hazel wanted this. She's like, I want a turkey. So now I'm making a turkey. Kathleen Lopez is the person. I'm probably saying that wrong. You can read it for yourself. Okay, the other kit, I bought 2 kits actually, because I was gonna buy full skeins of this, and I was like, but I want to see how it cranks up. So I decided not to go with the full skeins, and I went with a kit, and it's a marled yarn. Now, this is yarn, I believe, from, is this one from her sheep, or her goats? Now I can't remember. She does have yarn, obviously, from her goats, but I can't get this out that easily. The yarn is Cavalry yarn. Oh, this one is also Kathleen's, but I am not going to do, sorry, I'm not going to do the pattern it calls for. So, Cavalry is a fingering weight yarn, wool and mohair, 3 marled colors of mini skeins, 3 ounces for the pair, and it uses a size 2. So it is a mix of wool and mohair. So I was correct. It is yarn from her goats, and this is the 3 colors. What it calls you to do is this, but I'm gonna do something quite similar just on my machine. I'm gonna crank it. And I just thought this yarn was super pretty. Those colors. So I'm going to crank that. I also will probably hold this with Lycra because there's no nylon in it. Now I got to get this back in here, but I'll do that off camera. So other than that, that has been my week. I have not done anything else really crafty. It's been a busy week. We had back to school night. We also had family dinner night. And then we had, I went to the fiber art studio tour. John was helping a friend do some stuff in their yard. So we've just been really busy, and it's now Sunday, obviously. And yeah, I feel bad that I didn't record through the week, but I just didn't get a chance to. Real quick, one of the other things, I have been listening to a audiobook. It's not catching me really well, so I don't even know the name of it. And then I've been watching a lot of documentaries on Netflix. So if you're interested in skateboard art, John and I watched that documentary. It's called Skate Face, and it's SK8 FACE, Skate Face. So we watched that, which was really interesting because I didn't skateboard a ton, but my cousins all did, and he definitely skateboarded, and Hazel skateboards, and the art on the skateboards is really pretty fun, but it's interesting to learn about how it came to be. The next video I hope to have for my cranking, it didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to, so it's going to be more of a toddler sock if you ask me, but this is, I haven't closed the toe yet, but this is going to be a ribbed leg, and then the heel and foot. It looks so big on the foot, and it probably is going to be way bigger than it should be for even a toddler foot, and probably needs to be longer if it's going to be a toddler sock. I'm just going to do it like this, and maybe just have this as a sample to have in my stash of samples, but it didn't turn out what I was hoping. Somebody had asked if I could do a toddler sock with ribbing, and I'll have to give more details in that when I make the video, but I think if you're going to do a toddler sock, you really do have to do a mock rib with less stitches to make it smaller. Even with a rib, it's not, like, that's still pretty wide for a baby's foot. So I'm going to call this more of a toddler sock when I do it. It's kind of a fail in my head, but it's also a learning experience, so I have to, like, just take that into account when I make the video, that, you know, you have to learn what you're trying to make on the machine, and not everything's always going to come out the way you think it's going to come out, and that's pure example right there. So I hope everybody is well as they can be and taking care of themselves and each other and their families, and that you're doing and crafting the things that you want to do, or it's coming into fall season, and if you are a pumpkin, cinnamon, apple, caramel lover, that you are enjoying all the things that have been coming out, because the seasons are going to be changing quite soon, and all the coffee shops, I think, have all their pumpkin stuff out right now, which I don't really go and partake in that very often. I do love pumpkin pie though, so there you go. I'm not real picky. I love pumpkin pie. If I were to pick a pie, pumpkin might be my favorite. Or a fruit pie, like lemon. I love lemon pie. Okay, I should stop talking now because now I'm rambling. But I hope everybody is well. And stay tuned for after I sign off, because I'll have two videos. I can't remember how many videos of the goats from the farm. So enjoy that. And until the next episode, peace, love, and happy knitting, y'all. Bye.